Good evening, everybody. Happy to be with you this evening. I want to wish everybody a wonderful evening, and I hope that you've had a wonderful weekend. Today, we'll be engaging ourselves in a very informal conversation on matters relating to the country. But first, I pray that you and your family are doing well, and that the good Lord will give us the strength, the courage, and the wisdom to overcome our current challenges together. We must be reassured of the Lord's commitment in Hebrews that He shall never leave us, nor shall He forsake us. And so I pray for renewed faith and the strengthening of our faith, and faith to believe in ourselves and also to believe in the Lord. I pray that things will get back to normal, not only in Dominica, but the Caribbean and the world. We have been dramatically impacted by this COVID-19. And every one of us, every one of the countries, every one of the sectors have been impacted. But we cannot be daunted in this circumstance. We have to recognize that by working together, by remaining true to our commitment to our country and to ourselves, we can certainly overcome. Because of COVID-19 and with social distancing, I am a bit concerned about not being able to see as many of you as I used to prior to COVID-19. Because one of the most joyous part of my job and the most fulfilling part of my job is meeting the people, and very importantly, listening to the people. Hearing from you your own personal struggles and trials and tribulations and your hopes and your dreams and things which make you excited. So I look forward to things getting back to normal, and I can meet more people. I do meet people in my office, but not as many that I accustomed to. I know I try to keep up with WhatsApp messages, but with myself always at a meeting or meeting people or doing something, I don't really always have the time to respond to every single WhatsApp message that I receive. But I do try to respond to as many as possible. So I do hope that you understand this reality. This program is essentially an engagement of myself as Prime Minister with you, the people of Dominica. And the program is coined Anupali, Let's Talk. So it is a conversation that I would like to have with you. And we will certainly be getting questions from you via telephone calls and also via WhatsApp messages. But before we get into the points I wish to discuss, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the late Sonny Luke of Bells, to his wife and children and grandchildren and his extended family. I've known Sonny for the last, since 1999, when I was introduced to him by Rosie Douglas in a visit to Bells. And he and I remain in contact all of these years. A very wonderful, sincere, hardworking person. Always up and about. And I am saddened by his death, but my thoughts and prayers are with his wife Eileen and all his children and grandchildren, and to say that I shall be there with you during this difficult period. On the lighter side, I will certainly miss my smoked agouti. Every so often he would send me a smoked agouti, and I must say during the hunting season, he would certainly send me the agouti. I also want to extend condolences to the family of the late Cello, Cello was from Glanville, Portsmouth. Cello was, an extraordinary person, very warm-hearted, and sometimes I always say, I wish all my supporters were like Cello, and I'm really saddened by her death. So I wish to extend my sincere condolences to all her family, her children, her grandchildren, and to the rest of the family in Portsmouth, Glanville in particular. Today I'm hoping that we can discuss a few things. I would like for us to speak about the hurricane season, because we are in fact in the hurricane season. There have been a couple named storms. Thank God they have not developed into anything beyond that. And the scientists have indicated to us that this is going to be a very active hurricane season. We cannot prevent hurricanes from coming, though we continue to call on the developed countries to do what they should do to reduce on the emission of carbon gases into the atmosphere, because the effects of climate change and these natural disasters that are coming more frequently and more ferociously are impacting countries like Dominica. And so what we can do with regards to the hurricane season is to prepare. Ourselves, and we will speak about some of the things that we can do and we're doing as a country and as a community. I would also like to discuss, to share with you updates on some of the projects and programs within the government system, some of which many of you have been waiting for. And also we can speak about the local economy, getting back to normal in terms of allowing activities which existed prior to COVID-19 to resume. We also will have a engagement, a discussion on the reopening of the borders, which is the huge challenge which countries across the world, Dominica included, are confronting and really perplexed by, as to what do we do, how do we do it, when do we do it. And of course, I will seek your guidance on these questions. I have been told, as part of the housekeeping, I'm sure they'll put the numbers up, all the numbers are up. You can call us or WhatsApp us at 613-2929 or 245-2929. Numbers are up on the screen, and of course, those of you listening, is 613-2929 and 245-2929. Very easy numbers to remember. And maybe during the course of the program, I could repeat those. The other thing that COVID-19 has done is that it has allowed us to engage in a number of things which we never did, or some of us never did, or some of us had not done for many years. Things like backyard gardening. I have seen posting on social media. I have visited some homes. People have sent me photographs of the backyard gardening, the harvest, and I think I'm hoping that we can continue this, because this was part of our tradition. But the more developed we get as a country, the less we do things that we did back in the days. And so I'm hoping that those of us who would have placed all concrete and crazy tiles in our backyard, that we can now dig them out and have a backyard garden. Or if you want to keep your crazy tiles and your concrete, you can build some structures on the concrete and have soil in there and plant, as I've seen many of you doing. So it's a good practice, and to get the whole family involved. The whole concept of growing what we eat and eating what we grow. And I'm happy that the Minister of Agriculture is working on a national tree planting program, fruit tree planting program, so that we want to encourage every family in Dominica, every home in Dominica, every yard in Dominica to have at least one fruit bearing tree. Whether it's cherry, whether it's guava, soursop, a wide range of fruit trees are being propagated for national distribution. These things make a huge difference, and we need to encourage ourselves to do so, because if we cut trees, we must plant trees, and we must plant trees so that we can have more trees absorbing the carbon dioxide and allowing the atmosphere to be cleaner. And other people are engaging, enjoying the beauty of Dominica, going to the lakes and the rivers and the beaches and the many waterfalls that we've had. And it's all good. And there's so many wonderful things that we have in Dominica. Sometimes we take it for granted because we see it every day. It is close to us. And sometimes when we are so accustomed to something, we take it for granted until we lose it, until it's gone. And so I'm happy to see that many people are taking advantage of this. And more people are eating locally produced foods, which is good. We have to help the farmers. The more we buy what is grown or what is manufactured, what is produced locally, the better for our economy. More jobs can be created. But if we keep buying imported things that we have here in Dominica, even if the price is a little bit more expensive because of economies of scale, we are helping our neighbor and our son, our children keep their jobs. And so we have to always look at this from that perspective, that something might be $50 or 50 cents rather more expensive, but if we keep that money in, it'll create jobs. If we keep sending our foreign exchange out, it means therefore eventually you and I will lose our job because we have taken the monies and sent other places to create jobs for them. People have also engaged themselves in baking at home. I myself tried my hand at a few times baking some bread. Some people have told me that they think I should go commercially. I don't know. I'm not sure, but the people who have tried the bread, they told me that looks scary, but I never used to eat bread. But when you bake the bread, I can't eat enough bread. But bread is good, but not too much bread. Because it's high in carbohydrates and so on, and high in sugar as well. So, bread is not something that we should really eat too much of. And of course, finally, I think we spend a lot more time with the family and doing family activities. So COVID has brought some good sides of it. We would have preferred not to have COVID. But we had no control over these things, and things happen to us, and we have to deal with it. And so, as they say, if you're given a lemon, you make lemon juice with it, and that's what we have to learn to do in our society. The hurricane season is on. We have done many things in preparation for the hurricane season in terms of hurricane shelters, ensuring that the systems are in place, the security systems in place, the health. We've done a cross-check of the health system and ensure we are prepared as a nation. We've been looking at food supplies, both agricultural produce and also those from the importers, to ensure that if we're to hit, we have supplies of food in this country. We're looking at water, ensuring that we can have sufficient water in the event that we're hit. Learning from our experiences with Maria, and seeing where we fell short and addressing those shortcomings at a national level. It is also important that at a community level, at a family level, at a business level, we play our part. Because the government can have all of these plans. If we do not help ourselves at the local level, then we're going to have a problem. And so it's important for us to help ourselves at the local level to do basic things. Now, what are the basic things can we do? At our homes, we may have a tree that poses a threat, a hazard to our homes. It might be overhang over the roof, or it could cause damage to individuals, to your properties. And you may have a drain that is blocked. Let us work towards unblocking this. Let us not leave it for tomorrow, because we do not know what tomorrow will bring. Let us pay particular attention to our surroundings. Let us check our roofs. Let us check our windows, our doors. See what you experienced during Maria, and where you think you can ensure that it doesn't happen to you again. Your insurance, you have to pay attention to your insurance. All of us, myself included, you know, I never knew that I was underinsured until Hurricane Maria hit, and I did not get much damage, but I claimed the insurance as I was allowed to and qualified to do, but they told me I was underinsured. And I've heard these stories from all of you, all of us here in Dominica underinsured. So go through your insurance policy with a fine-tooth comb. You ensure that the value of your property, that's what you've insured, so that if you're hit, God forbid, you can get your full insurance payout, and you can cover your home and fix your home by yourself with your insurance money. What we have done also with the National Employment Program employees or interns we have across Dominica, several hundred of them, we are redirecting them to assist with hurricane preparedness efforts. So they will be in the villages, in the communities, cutting the overhangs, cleaning drains, unblocking culverts, going into the homes of the most vulnerable, the senior citizens, the sick and shut in, you know, and to assist with eliminating the hazards or mitigating against the hazards in those communities. Doing every little thing that we possibly can and should do to mitigate against the hazards and eliminate them where possible. So this is what we're doing, but it's important for us to pay attention to the advisories, to the advice given to us by ODM. They have, I've seen a number of posters around. They have community announcements on the various radio stations. You can go on the website and be advised on what you need to do in the event of a hurricane. You know, we will continue to pray. We have to pray to the good Lord that we're not hit by a hurricane, because the Lord knows, and we all know, that our country cannot sustain another natural disaster. We were just recovering from Hurricane Maria and now COVID-19. And no one knows how long COVID-19 is going to last, is going to be with us. And there's no way that any country in the region, Dominica included, can really deal with a natural disaster. So we'll continue to pray, but at the same token, we cannot be like the foolish virgins. We have to ensure that our lamps have sufficient oil, and the way in terms of hurricane we can ensure that our lamps have sufficient oil is by preparing, doing what we can for ourselves, and to join hands with the national effort, the National Emergency Planning Organization, NEPO, to do what we have to do to prepare ourselves. And I don't want to belabor the point. I know all of us know what I'm saying to you. We've heard this many times, but I'm just reinforcing it. I'm just repeating them for the benefit of us, and to jerk our consciousness a bit, so that we are aware that we're in the hurricane season and we shouldn't take it for granted. And so let us pray, but let us also prepare for this hurricane season. I think I don't want to be the only one talking, so we can take questions, I believe, at any time. You know, I am not going to follow any set program, so at some point we will take some questions. But I just want to say to you that we're making some good progress. You know, notwithstanding COVID-19, we never stopped construction. You know, we allow construction to continue because we believe that we could have done so responsibly, and we did so responsibly. And I want to thank all of the contractors for their understanding and following the protocols. We could not stop the construction of homes because we're in a hurricane season was approaching. We could not stop the construction of the hospitals because hospitals are critical to our hurricane preparedness. We could not stop the construction of the health centers because health centers are critical to our preparedness for the hurricane season, but very importantly, if we're hit, that we have facilities where people can shelter and where people can get the services and the care that they need. So the health center in Vegas is basically completed. We shall furnish it and equip it very soon in the next few weeks. You know, I invite those of you who are not from my village to visit there and to see this edifice, this beautiful building just at the entrance of the village. You know, a wonderful building there. Penville is well on its way. We're building this health center in Lower Penville, a community that I love so much, Lower Penville. You know, wonderful people there, the whole of Penville. We're building this new health center there. The one we had in Upper Penville got destroyed. The land space was not sufficient, and if we're going to build, we have to build for the future. And I'm thankful for the village of Penville and my friends there for understanding why we had to do so. Portsmouth, we built a new health center in Portsmouth in this new community that we have created in Georgetown. Building is basically completed. We're looking towards furnishing it and equipping it, and people will move in. People will move in very soon. And with these health centers, all of these health centers, on the ground floor we have the health centers with a number of different services that will be provided. And on the top floor, we have the residences for the nurses, the residence for the nurses. 2-bedroom apartments with kitchen and living room and dining room and a very large patio or patio that would enhance the quality of the accommodation for the district nurses. Marigold Hospital is nearing completion as well. Wesley is under construction, and we have just started the foundation works in Bacatel. We have concluded the land issue in Ansley. So they think 1 or 2 steps required to complete this, and we will see commencement of this project, the health center in Ansley. We're in discussions regards to Collier, and I know there were discussions with the landowner last week. I'm hoping to get a report this week coming to see where we are with this, but we're ready to roll in Collier. Also in Newtown, we are negotiating with some land very close to the Catholic Church. It appears that the landowner is inclined to sell it to us. He had some questions which we have responded to, and we're hoping that he can come back to us in the affirmative so we can acquire the 18,000 square feet of land that we need to build the health center for the folks in Newtown. We also are moving to build a new health center in Soufriere. There's some issues with land. The 2 sites, you know, one in particular that we're looking at. I know the Ministry of Lands and the Ministry of Housing are in discussions with the property owner there, and I'm hoping that we can conclude this very quickly. You know, in the law, the government has the authority to compulsorily acquire lands, but I never like the government imposing itself on people. So we always prefer, even if it's a need, we always want to engage the landowner before such action is taken, because we don't want to create any acrimony or any animosity over these things, because we know how sensitive land is in Dominica. You know, so we're very careful with this, and also we're building a new health center in Roseau Central. We'll be building a new health center. There's also a new health center being built in Maho. It's well on its way. That's close to the playing field in Maho, and so we're very happy for the quality of work. 2 of these health centers are being built by local people. The others are mentioned in Roseau South, in Soufriere, in Asdime, in Collier. All of these health centers will be constructed by local contractors. And as I said on previous programs, a local contractor built Portsmouth, and he's currently building Bacatel. And we're very satisfied with the work he did in Portsmouth, utilizing the technology that the developer and the government have agreed to. So get ready. There'll be many projects for local contractors. Margaret Hospital, a massive hospital, I must say, a massive hospital being built in Marigot. We have done the foundations. The first floor has been constructed. Do we have videos of this, or the Margaret Hospital? We'll show this, so people can see where my words are, and so forth. So we have the Margaret Hospital under construction. It's a massive structure that will address the health needs in the Marigot Health District from Atkinson down to Calibishi. And I believe that it will be able to address the health needs of that health district for the foreseeable future. We're building it beyond just the immediate needs. We're building this for the next 50, 60, 70 years. It's a massive structure, I must say. So we continue to do all those things during COVID-19 because they are so important elements of our national efforts. Likewise, the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital. Again, I want to, and before I go to the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, I want to thank the Ministry of Health, the Minister and his staff there, also Honorable Kent Edwards and others. And I want to thank the developer, MMC, and in particular Mr. Chris Timmins for his continued efforts, the PS of Lands and the Minister of Lands, and Mr. Lestrade, the government chief surveyor and commissioner of lands for their efforts. Really, really grateful for this. And these projects, all of these health centers, this hospital, are all being financed with proceeds from the Citizenship by Investment program. The Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, we continue. I want to thank the Chinese government, the Chinese ambassador and the commercial consular, the staff, and the great leadership of China, President Xi and Premier Li, and the great people of China for their continued friendship and solidarity. And of course to the contractors, been a phenomenal job there. We can see the works going on. It's a project that many said would never come. There are some who said Skerrit was telling a lie, but we are saying this. And my hope and prayer is that we can enhance the quality of care and the delivery of care in Dominica. This week we're hoping to have a conversation with you, the public, with us, about the where we want health to go in terms of the management, in terms of the delivery of services to our country. So we will be putting in place some new structures at the hospital to ensure that we can improve on the delivery of services so that our people don't, the complaints which we get from time to time, some justified, some unjustified, those can be eliminated or go away. So work is going on. People are employed in these projects, and we look forward to advancing those that have not started and to completing those that are underway. And I think we in the next 5 years or so, we will have almost a completely brand new health infrastructure. Take into consideration the impacts of natural disasters on our country, and building a greater resilience and building back better, so that when these hurricanes come, they will be able to withstand the impact much better. And as you know, the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, we have redesigned the roofs. So 95% of the roofs will be concrete roofs. Likewise, the Margaret Hospital and all the health centers we're building, they're all concrete roofs, and the coverings are just for aesthetics, just to enhance the beauty of these buildings. So, and of course, they're being built with Category 5 hurricanes in mind, and also our seismic situation in Dominica. The other point I want to raise is regards to housing. Even in housing, we never stopped. We continue to build houses. this week coming, and I've said to the minister and to the power reps concerned that I do not want Sunday next week to come before the 254 people have the keys. So we'll be handing over 254 keys to deserving and qualifying citizens in Lapland and Dalis, in Grandfont, and in Saint-Sauveur. So there will be 254 keys, 254 families who will be placed in new homes. Now, these are 254 families who will no longer be in a vulnerable state. And I've always said, even if it's one person that we have removed from a vulnerable state, it is one less person who is in a vulnerable state. And we have to give God thanks for this. And we have to thank God for this. So 254 families will be moved in. I'm looking forward to coming to Saint-Sauveur. I have not been there in a while. I'm looking forward to meeting all my family and friends in Saint-Sauveur and Good Hope and Petit Soufre, who will be benefiting from these apartments. And also in Grandfont, a place I love so much. I look forward to coming back. Thanks for all of these gifts you gave me. And when I walked from Loda to Grandfont, doing the Shimmelita, 2.5 hours. I tried to get Austria to come with me, but I don't know what happened. He didn't want to come with me. But I'll take him on a shorter walk, maybe to Spani Falls or something. So we have 254 keys that will be handed over this week coming. And we also will be finalizing a list of 30 names for Granby. We have 30 homes ready in Granby, 3 bedrooms each. 30 homes ready in Granby. And we have 30 in Jimmet. I'm hoping the papers can come to cabinet as soon as possible, hopefully this week, so we can approve this and hand over keys to the people. So that's an additional 60 families who will be given key, who will be approved in the next several days. So you take 254 and you add to that 60, you know what we're talking about. And there are 10 homes, I believe, that are completed in Canago territory. They're ready. They were built specifically for some families because we built on their land in Mao River and elsewhere. And I'm very happy for these families, and we're hoping that we can hand over the keys to them in the next few days as well. In Platte-Napier, and I know I saw a message when I watched my page that a question was asked about Platte-Napier. There were some challenges in Platte-Napier. We had partially addressed them. I believe that we will conclude on addressing them on Monday. I have directed that I think we owe the contractors $137,000 in total. And I have directed that these monies be paid to them no later than 3 o'clock tomorrow. And these people will be paid, and we will recommence construction on Wednesday. I've directed hopefully Wednesday we can start. So that we can complete. There's not much work to be done. It's a 2-phase project. We're building upstairs, 10 of them, and downstairs we're building for another family. And so once we complete upstairs, we will build downstairs. We have to do the septic tanks, each of those buildings, and that's basically what is required. It's basically completed, and I'm hoping that we can push, work day and night, and so we can have 10 families in Corleho who will no longer be in any compromised situation in this hurricane season, and I understand the anxieties of these 10 families. We also have some 34 homes being built in Vickers, Penville, and Thibault, shared among these communities. We hope we're going to recommence work this week. Contractors were met on Thursday by the Permanent Secretary of Housing and the Housing Officer. And I look forward to completing this. And I want to greet my friend Revens John. Revens John is from Caribbean, Penville. We're building a home for him there, wonderful man and his family there. We look forward to completing your house for you. And Rosamond Carbon in Thibault, there's some minor works to be done to complete your house, and we look forward to completing your homes and so forth. So 34 of those homes, we have the funds to complete them, and some of those funds will be transferred to the village councils so that they can facilitate the payments to the contractors on a timely basis. Again, I want to thank the contractors and thank everybody who's working on this, and to thank the homeowners for their understanding. And not forgetting my friend, Paulina Paul, who's also one of the beneficiaries here. My sincere and dear friend, Paulina Paul. And there are a number of communities in Mont John and River Suic. We have some homes being built there. There were some delays. I'm not sure what happened because I approved all the funds to complete those. But I'm hoping that we can address the challenges there. We can address the challenges there in the next couple of days, and we can have those homes completed. Some of the basically windows and doors and some plastering and painting, and people will be in comfortably in their homes. And this will no doubt enhance the safety and welfare and well-being of so many of the individuals there in Mont John River Suic. Next week, I will speak more about housing because there are a number of the communities that the things that are happening that I want to give an update on. We have started the apartments opposite the grammar school. We have started those. There are 2 contractors who will be building there. Work has started, as you see, and we look forward to the pushing very fast so we can have those apartments completed to the benefit of the residents of Roseau Central. And I forgot that we also have 30 units at Stock Farm completed. I'm hoping that we can finalize this list of beneficiaries. The challenge you have is that you have so many people applying, and then we have to do a background check on them to ensure that those names we select are in fact the most deserving of all. And we want to ensure that there is equity and there is parity in our distribution of those homes, and that the most vulnerable are started with, and this is what we're trying to do. And I hope people understand this. This is how we have to go about doing this. Are we going to take some questions from the people? Kristen said, my question is, what about the river wall to be built in Bath Estate? I am very concerned seeing that I live very close to the river, and my experience with what happened during Erica and Maria is still frightening. I believe you're talking about down by the bridge area. This is part of the bridge, Bath Estate to Emsall. And I pray to God that we can start this project this year. This is a critical project that has been around for some time. It is a costly project, I must tell you, hugely costly project. But the idea is to take the wall all the way up into Bath Estate, into the road going up to Trafalgar, and going all the way past this new community, Paradise Valley, and to ensure that these areas are protected. So it is part of this. What we're going to be doing in the next few days as part of the preparation for the hurricane is to do some dredging there and to put some boulders there to ensure that the boulders are reinforced, so that at least they can bring some level of mitigation there. But this is part of the bigger project of the in respect to the retaining to the bridge. So it's part of the bridge project and so on. But we're very mindful of this, and the former president, His Excellency Williams, always raises this issue of the bridge with us, and so I'm mindful of this. And of course, your new power is as aggressive as aggressive can get, and she always asks about this and do what she has to do to represent the interests of our constituency. Okay, now in respect to, there's another project I would like to talk about, that is the East Coast Road from Emerald Pool area through Castle Bruce and onto through the Calnago territory and onto Pigwa. This is going to be a major project. The contract sum, I believe, is in the region of $125 million EC. We have finalized all arrangements for this project, and we are only held up because of the closure of the borders, so that the supervisory firm can come in, and also the construction firm can come in. Out of this $125 million, $79 million will be spent in the Calnago territory alone. So one can appreciate the impact this $79 million is going to have on the Calnago territory, really transforming the length of the roadway throughout the Calnago territory. And so we're very excited about this. All of the waterways, the water crossings, slope stabilization will come in. I'm told we have a question. Yeah.
Good
telephone.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Yes. Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. First of all, thanks for the intervention with the grotto home for the homeless. I'm very happy about that. And I was extremely delighted to hear you extend sympathy to a stalwart Celestine George, my aunt from Portsmouth, who passed yesterday. And so I know we've been going through some challenging times, but would like to have an update on the international airport. And congratulations to the Ministry of Health for the tremendous work they have been doing. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I think the caller is talking about the, we have been able to provide funds to the grotto home to meet their salaries and expenses for the month. I'm hoping to meet with some of you soon, because I would like to commit the government to meeting the costs for the rest of the year for the grotto home, to ensure that we can properly care for our most vulnerable. And so we will enter into some agreement between the government and the grotto home, the board of the grotto home. With regards to the international airport, we have not taken this off the national priority list. We have been held up by COVID-19. First, when COVID-19 hit China, there was a firm, a technical group that was all packed to come in to do the final geotechnical studies. But at that time, China was grappling with COVID-19, and there were risks associated with people traveling from China to all parts, so that had to be suspended. We're hoping that once the borders are open and protocols are in place, that firm can come in, that technical team can come in to do the final geotechnical studies to understand the soil type we have in the Wesley Woodford area. We have started the process of land acquisitions. We will start making payments to the landowners. So work is in progress. We haven't stopped, but there are some actions that are required on the ground, and we're just hoping and praying that our borders and the global borders can open up, and we can see an abeyance of the COVID-19, and we can certainly move with that project. But this is a national imperative. We have to build the international airport. It is important for our economy. If all of the investments are making in tourism, I believe that this is a way of sustaining the investments we're making in tourism. So we look forward to this project, but it has not been erased. It has not been removed on the national agenda, notwithstanding COVID-19. It's very important. There's another call.
Hello.
Hello. Good night.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm okay.
Okay, I know that voice.
I'm calling in relation to finding out when the borders are going to open, and what measures are you all going to take?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, before I respond to your question, my dear, in regards to the local economy, as you've seen, we have allowed for virtually all activities ready to take place in Dominica. We're now allowing for hotels and guest houses to be opened and to allow for staycation, meaning local Dominicans can go into the hotels and stay for weekends or weeks and have meals at the hotels and so forth, use the spa and other facilities at these hotels and guest houses. Barbershops are open, salons are open, hot water spas are open, and all business activities are functioning. We have called back public servants to work, and the curfew has been pushed from 7 and 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. I believe by the end of June, we would have removed the emergency powers that's in effect, and to allow the country to go back to normal in terms of our normal activities, and remove the curfew altogether. Now, the issue of the opening up of the borders is a bigger decision which I have to take and the cabinet has to take. And we have been discussing this for several weeks now within the government system. Huge arguments and huge debates rather are taking place. And we have also been engaging private sector entities to discuss this issue because they know best practices. Every country in the world and every country in the Caribbean is grappling with this reopening effort. Just last week we had 2 meetings of CARICOM, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, discussing the issue of opening up our borders. We're looking at what Antigua has done, we're looking at what Jamaica is doing, we're looking at what we're doing, and we try to share views and protocols to see whether we can come up with some common protocols and policies with regards to reopening. Now, before I go to this, let's report to you that the 2 cases, positive cases which we got from the cruise ships, these 2 people have recovered successfully and they have been discharged. So we no longer have any active cases on Dominica. So that is some good news. As we have seen in other countries, once you open up the borders, you expect to get some cases. And therefore, we in Dominica and in the world have to start accepting that COVID-19 is going to be with us for a very long time. With us for a very long time. Scientists are working on vaccines. I just watched the news today and they're making progress. They are now testing these vaccines within the lab system. But we know the reality of it is that countries like us in the Caribbean, developing countries in the Caribbean and Latin America and Africa, will be the last to get these vaccines. We saw what happened with the bigger countries and the way that they went about hoarding supplies. They were holding everything on themselves. And I'm not criticizing them for that. Their first interest is their citizens and residents. And so they had to do what they needed to do to protect and to provide for their citizens. So we're not sure whether this vaccine is going to be ready in months or years, but whenever it's ready, it will take us some time to get it. This is why we are advocating as a country and as developing countries for universal access to vaccines, to ensure that institutions like the WHO, Pan American Health Organization, and the UN can advocate and ensure that countries like ours have immediate access to the vaccines when they're developed. So the issue of opening up, we're looking at somewhere in July. I can't tell you what date in July, but I'm hoping that I will be in a position in the next week or so to come back to you with a date. The reality is we have to open up our borders. Our borders can't stay closed for the rest of the year. We have to open up. But the reality also is that once you open up, you expect to have imported cases. The Ministry of Health is advising us on what type of protocols we need to put in place for people coming into Dominica, for Dominican citizens and residents, and for visitors. Now, is it practical to tell a man to come on holiday in Dominica for 7 days and you put him into quarantine? Is it practical? There's the issue of testing when you get there, because demands were made on the airlines to test prior to boarding. But this is a market-driven issue, and it's a cost to these airlines, and I never thought they would have accepted this. And so the airlines are saying they won't take responsibility for testing anybody before they come to our islands. And therefore it is left to us now to put protocols in place for when our visitors and citizens come to Dominica. And so the question is, what type of test do you provide? Do you provide a PCR test, or the rapid test, or the antibody test? There's still some debate. The best test to do as of now is the PCR test. Currently, we have the capacity, human resources and otherwise, to do 25 tests per day within a 24-hour period. We are building our capacity with the procurement of an additional machine and additional resources to be able to do at least 100 tests per day with the PCR test. We are also looking at other forms of testing, whether one can do the rapid test. There is a certain percentage of accuracy. The antibody test, there's a certain percentage of accuracy. So we have to look at what is the one that makes more practical sense. And so we have to look at this in respect to opening the borders. We have been, as I said, discussing this internally. We've gotten advice from the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, who has provided us with advice on how we go about reopening on a phased basis, what we need to pay attention to, and they've been very, very helpful. We've also been relying on CAFA and PAHO and WHO to provide guidance to us, and also very importantly to our local health team, So we are not there yet to tell you the precise date, but I believe we have to open up, and we have to open up for a number of reasons. And the other thing too we have to consider is, how do we treat ourselves? If, for example, you were living in Dominica, your daughter is in Antigua, so you go to Antigua this weekend to see your daughter, how do we treat you when you return? And then 2 weeks later, you decide to go to Guadeloupe to visit your family, how do we treat you when you return? So all of these things have to be taken into consideration. It doesn't make sense to send us to quarantine. Should we send people to quarantine? How long should we send in quarantine? And how many tests do you apply to the person? So the reality is, my dear brothers and sisters, it is not an easy decision to make, because yes, we want to open up and we have to open up, but we are also mindful of protecting our citizens from being infected with COVID-19. And truth be told, like we have lived with TB among us, we may very well have to live with COVID-19 among us. And we just have to take care of ourselves, exercise, eat right, build our immune system, and prepare ourselves for the reality of this. I think as time goes by, there is a better understanding of how to treat with COVID-19, and there is a greater success rate of treating with COVID-19. So it's an important question. I will come back to the nation on this, so we can discuss more about this. And when I come back to you, I will be able to read out to you the plan for reopening with all of the protocols that we put in place, but ensuring that we protect you, the residents and citizens of Dominica, to the fullest extent possible. I am a call. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I'm calling for the program.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
I have a question for the Prime Minister.
Yes.
I can go ahead?
Yes, sir, please. Of course.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to compliment them on the package that they have put for the average for the bus drivers and the smaller business people, right?
Yes, sir.
But my question to the PM is, what is there for the middle businesses? In other words, for that $15,000 loan
For the middle?
that one has to apply for, there's a threshold of what one makes, like anywhere above 60,000 and plus. You're not allowed to apply for the loan. What is there for the middle businesses who are making more than that money but have been affected by the virus, by the closing down of businesses, loss of employees, loss of sales, sometimes having to cut back on salary. There's nothing basically for us, the middle businesses. And I've spoken to a number of middle businesses like myself, and they are suffering the same thing. So we'd like to know what is there for the middle businesses that's up there in the middle class.
But let me put it to you, my brother. Very important question. Let me put it to you. What are your recommendations?
Well,
I would like to meet with you if you don't mind, outside of this program if you don't mind, but if you want to suggest on this program, but I can meet you this week.
Yeah, I'm really happy to meet you. I don't have a problem, Mr. PM.
Yeah, but I would like to hear from you. Okay.
How do I contact you?
We're calling you now.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, but just to say that first of all, if your employees were affected, they can in fact apply for the income support at the Social Security. Secondly, there is we allow you to keep. I think we invest in about $7.8 million of corporate income tax. So if you're paying corporate income tax, you can in fact benefit from this, but there's a condition. There's a condition that you will have to keep about 80% of your employment that you had at the time COVID came about. So there are benefits there you can get. And also with regards to VAT, we will allow you to defer your payments of VAT for the next 6 months. There also, you can also benefit from the waiver of VAT and import duties on some of the items that are necessary for the maintenance of the hygienic practices at your businesses. And also with regards to your income tax, there is a deferment of the filing and payment of your income tax. Now, what these things allow is that it allows you to use these funds to help you weather the storm, because these are funds that you would, by law, you would have had to pay to the government now. The government is telling you to hold its money, that is the government's money, for a 6 months period, so that you can, instead of giving the government the money, you can deal with some of your challenges that you're having. So there are benefits, but I would like to hear from you on what are the other specific things, because sometimes there are challenges that are unique to a particular business, and so I would love to hear from you, and we in fact call in the column. Yeah. Yep. It says that I'm interested in getting on the agriculture projects. And here, I'm hearing so much to be done, but I'm hearing that positions are already filled. How else can I assist, especially as the government has assisted me in completing a master's degree program? The question is, what are you interested in? Are you interested in investing in agriculture, food production, or you're looking for a job within the Ministry of Agriculture? If you're looking at investments in agriculture, we have the loans outside of these loans that we just put in at the Aid Bank for small businesses. We have loans available at the Aid Bank at 2% for agriculture and agriculture investments. Those funds are available, and scores of Dominicans farmers have benefited and taken advantage of those investments. So you can get loans from there. We also have the World Bank project that provides financing and also farm implements and inputs and planting material to assist you in your farms. But we have your number. If you're looking at a job, then I will certainly ensure that we can reach out to you and we can discuss to see what your skill sets are. But I'm happy to note that the government sent you to do a master's degree in agriculture.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, Honorable Prime Minister. I would just like to ask if you're aware that there are still pitted common people who are out, who have not gotten their houses, and they were served the letter last week.
Yeah, I'm aware, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm aware that there's some of the PD7 people who have not been assigned those homes. They will get the keys this week, no later than Wednesday this week, so that we can resolve this issue. In respect to people who would have received letters, and not only PD7 people, a number of people whom the government was paying rent for, who they would have received a letter from the government indicating the termination of the payment of the rent. We basically trying to clean up the situation and to ensure that those whom we are paying rents for are in fact those whom we should be paying rents for. And if we're paying rent for somebody, that the person is in fact residing in those homes. So what I would advise anybody who would have received a letter from the government is to check with the ministry concerned and to register with them that you are in fact occupying this house so that they can regularize you. But it was all an effort to address certain irregularities or certain gaps with regards to the renting of those homes. So we have to address those. And I dare say there were some families who we gave homes, who we've been paying rents for many years. They occupy the homes in Bellevue, but they left somebody at the house that are renting. And so they're in the house in Bellevue Shopping and we've been paying rent because they left a family member and so on. So we have to find a way of regularizing it. And the government felt the best way to go about addressing this is to just cut the rent for everybody and let people come back to report to us and say, yes, I haven't gotten a home, I am renting, and we shall address that issue. So I'm aware of that, my friend.
Hello.
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 No, we're hearing you. Go ahead, please.
Hello. You hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Sonia here. I'm calling. I'm from Belize, but I'm out of state because I came to a graduation. My grandson was graduating. I got caught with corona, so I'm up here in Atlanta. But anyways, I want to also tell you, I really admire your work on the COVID-19 situation in Dominica. Wonderful job. And please keep on Doc Mac. Don't send Dr. Mac nowhere but where he is. He's a wonderful doctor. But my question is, if that apartment complex is, where does Waitika fit into all this? I don't think they could apply. And also that my house fell flat to the ground in Daly's. I've been in Daly's for the past 19 years. And I was refused an apartment. But people who's living outside of Daly's for the past 20 and 30 years got one. What is all that about? And there is people in Waitika that need homes too. And I think this apartment between Applin and Daly's, some people in Waitika should be able to get an apartment. What's up with that? Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, my friend. Just to correct you, there's nobody who's been living out of Daly's for 20, 30 years who is on the list of beneficiaries. This is just, that's not true. I give you that assurance. I believe that there were one or two people from Waitika who may be on the list. I believe so. And I believe they may have also gotten one or two apartments in Lapland as well, from Waitika. So that has been looked at as well. But we have some 65 units in Daly's. You know, when we were building these apartments, many people felt that nobody in Daly's would want them. Now we have too many applicants, and so we have to try to see how we can address the gap in terms of the number of people who applied and really need homes. So we tried our best to ensure, as far as humanly possible, we satisfy the most vulnerable. And no system is perfect, but we try our best. And but we take note of your particular situation. I guess when you return to the country, you will make touch, get in touch with your PAL rep, and then we can discuss a particular challenge. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes, hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Yes, I'm trying to get online.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
I'm calling from Eggleston.
Eggleston.
Yes. We are not hearing anything about the apartment building.
Yes.
Yes, so I'd
So
like
you want
to
an
know.
update on this?
Yes, please.
Sure, no problem, my friend. As you know, government doesn't have any lands in Eggleston to build homes, and we have been scouting in Eggleston, and obviously Eggleston and Girodale, wonderful communities, two communities I love very much. I wish I was staying up there, honestly. But you have a issue of land and the challenge of finding adequate land in Girodale is out of it. There's no land in Girodale. I've been all the way in the mountains in Girodale looking for land way back when Ambrose George was power up and so on. And I started back with Shakira or power up there. But I made a visit to, a second visit to Girodale in recent times. I think I went there in April. I was there in April, late April, and we were able to identify some lovely lands in Eggleston. The owners have agreed to sell to the government. The owners have a particular challenge with getting the title finalized. The lawyer has some health issues, so we're trying to see how we can work with them to overcome this particular challenge. I believe that we've been in touch with them. That is to say, the Ministry of Housing and Survey Department have been in touch with the landowner. So once we settle the land, my friend, we are going to roll with these houses in Eggleston. So Eggleston, well, Roseau South on a whole is priority for us. Where housing is concerned, in Newtown and in Girodale, Eggleston, Bath Estate. So we certainly, and we're going to be building a wonderful community there in Eggleston. Yeah. Yes, please. Hello.
Yeah, good night.
How are you? Hi. Hello?
Karen,
Hi, go ahead, please.
somebody on this. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, PM.
Hi.
I have a question that is pressing on my heart.
No. Well, ask your question, darling. Go ahead, please.
I would like to know, when are you going to start working on the Goodwill Secondary School?
Goodwill Secondary School.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the Goodwill Secondary School is one of the projects to be financed by the Chinese, I believe. The Chinese or the Canadians. By the Canadians. So it's one of the schools. I know that they have done a number of the preparatory steps, but sometimes with this financing it takes a little while. I think the next step now is for designs to take place. But this is a project that is one of the priority schools. The Goodwill Secondary School, a completely new school. Like you, I share your anxieties because it's really a school the government needs to give some specific attention, and it has been a while now. And I know we have done some work on repairs in the past, but it has been damaged by Hurricane Maria. But they really need to have a brand new, modern facility for these students in Goodwill. Hello? Hi. Next person, please, go ahead.
Good night, Mr. Prime Minister.
Yes, sir, good night to you.
I'm calling for good program. I'm calling from Monjon.
Monjon, yes.
Yes, sir. Prime Minister. I'm just trying to find out what's the measure that you have for Monjon for the houses you have started, and hurricane season is coming, and some of us have a lot of children that we cannot run with, and we cannot go so far with them children. So let's know what the measure you have for us for the houses. We have started, and we have talked about it last month, but said that they have started Monday, and up to this present they haven't seen anything. So we want to watch the measure that you have for us, Mr. Prime Minister.
No, thank you, my friend. I did come to visit there in May, and I would have thought that we would have recommenced reconstruction. Don't blame your party for this. Your party has already been asking about this. But I believe that this week we shall resolve this outstanding issue, and we will see a commencement of construction. As you know, there's some basic things that need to be done, windows and doors and some plastering in some cases. So the homes are essentially completed, their roofs up already, concrete roofs, so they're already. Very, 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 very good work done by the local contractors. But it's our fault. So blame the government for not having recommenced it, and well, not the power rep. But we will address this issue this week, and I'm hoping we can start work immediately on this. Hello?
Yes, good evening, Mr. PM. Question.
Yes, sir.
When will the West Coast bridges be open, and is there a tentative date for the opening?
Yeah. West Coast Road. Thank you.
I mean the West Coast bridges.
Yes, sir. I know. Thank you very much, my brother. There are two components to the West Coast Road. There's a component financed by the Chinese government, including the three bridges, the one at Battley, one at Makusri, and the other one at Point Trong in Portsmouth. And you will see some works ongoing. These works are financed by the government with some retaining structures and some culverting in some areas in Monet Spiral and just before you get to Biosh and a couple other sections. The project, the three bridges are financed by China. Now, the Chinese government takes very seriously when it is financing projects. And they will give a contract to a firm, but there's an independent quality assurance firm in China that would have to come to Dominica to inspect those bridges to ensure that these bridges meet the structural integrity and the standards that are required of such structures. So for example, because of COVID-19, we had to use one of the buildings at the hospital to provide accommodation for nurses and doctors and staff there. And we had to end up signing some agreement accepting to waive that requirement, which is in Chinese law. So there's an independent firm that comes in and to ensure that the bridge meets the standard, because the last thing the Chinese government would want is for the bridge to collapse and something to happen, and it brings a reputational risk to the Chinese government. Now, obviously, because of COVID-19, the firm cannot come in because the date that we were supposed to have those bridges open is in June, so that we could make use of these bridges and so forth. So we are in discussions with the Chinese government, with the Chinese embassy, and the government, may very well have to waive that requirement to allow ourselves to use the bridge now, because we're not sure when this Chinese firm would come in. They were looking to see whether in the region they could use some of the independent engineers, the Chinese engineers in the region, the Caribbean, Latin America, to see whether they could come in to do the inspection. So we're in discussions with them. The bridges are completed. We thank the Chinese government. Again, we never stop the project because we recognize that the projects are important to us. We know of the quality and the high standards of engineering that the Chinese government engages itself in. Look at the stadium first. We've stood all the hurricanes and the storms. And the hospital and the Newtown School survived the hurricane. Hurricane Maria, nothing happened to Newtown School. So we are comfortable with the quality of the engineering and the technology used by China. But that we have to give a derogation, give a waiver of that requirement that is in Chinese law with regards to coming to test and to inspect the bridges to ensure that they're okay. But I'm hoping that we can waive this and then we can start using those bridges and so on. Hello?
Hello, good night.
Hi.
Yes, am I online?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good night, my honorable Prime Minister.
Good night to you.
Yes, good job, well done.
Thank you.
I'm calling from Eggleston.
Eggleston.
Yes, and there is a young lady I know that, soon after marriage, her house down flat. Yeah, and then they were renting an apartment for her, but she received no more rent. And then she had to go back to that place, and she has babies and young children there. And she has a set away there, the whole yard smelling. Yeah, so she really needs some assistance.
Can you
not working.
Can you lower your TV or your radio or something?
Yes, I just lowered it.
Okay, thank you, darling.
Yes. I think someone needs to assist her.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm aware of this young lady. I know she sent me a WhatsApp message, so I'm aware of her. But her matter will be dealt with and so on. Okay. Next caller, please.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm calling from Woodford Hill.
Woodford Hill.
Yes, sir, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, very good, very good. Yeah, let me first of all wish you a belated happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoyed it as much as possible. So I have nothing much to say, but to just say that I am very proud as a Dominican who lives overseas of your leadership. I feel very proud to have you as my Prime Minister, sir. And you are doing exceptionally well. And I think that you deserve very high commendation for the kind of stewardship which you provide, sir. And I think, as Winston Churchill once said, there are some politicians that make the weather. And I think Roosevelt Skerrit is undoubtedly one of them, sir. And I'm really, really, really proud of you. And I think in 2004 came as the hour, and then came as that man. And I think you are providing the kind of leadership that we really, really love and we emulate. And I can say, sir, you are not going anywhere for the next 30 years. Rest assured. Have a good evening, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, next caller, please.
Hello, sir. Good evening, Mr. Prime Minister.
Hi, good evening to you.
I just wanted to know if the Ministry of Education is considering having online classes as part of the high school curriculum moving forward.
I didn't get the question quite clearly then. I heard about online classes.
I want to know if the Ministry of Education is considering having online classes as part of the high school curriculum moving forward.
Moving forward, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is part of the government's overall policy of enhancing education and modernizing, tuition and the education of our children. This is why, under the agreement with Digicel, every school in Dominica is provided for with the technology that's required to allow for this to happen. And if you recall, some years ago, we had purchased and delivered devices to every single child in Dominica. And we will be looking at this going forward to ensure that every child has access to the internet and every child has access to a device. And our hope is that, because one of the things you want to avoid or we want to ensure is that when we go with it in a formal way, that everybody has access to it. You don't want to have a situation where some children have access to devices and some don't. So we'll be providing that to every child in the country. And of course, as we speak, every school in Dominica is connected to the internet. So this will be a formal part of the school program, school curriculum program, going forward. We have had tremendous experiences of it since COVID-19, and the idea is to enhance it, pay attention to some of the challenges we've had, and to ensure that we can address some of the concerns that we have identified. So even when there were some criticisms of the government about access to the internet in, say, for example, in the Carnago territory, every school in the Carnago territory, including the resource centers, do have access to the internet. You may not have fixed internet at the homes, but at the schools and the community centers, we have access to this. Okay. Somebody's asking a question by WhatsApp. They said, can we see in the near future a commitment to exploring the legalization of cannabis to create a new industry in Dominica? The short answer to this question is yes. We have already drafted legislation that first would decriminalize the possession of a certain quantity of marijuana or cannabis, and also to allow us as citizens to be able to grow a maximum number of trees on our private property. As a matter of fact, somebody was joking with me, and they came to my farm and they said, "But Skerrit, the only thing you don't have on your farm there is the natural plant." You know, I agree with the person. I can't wait for the government to amend the law so that I could have my regulated trees on my farm. So I would complete the crops and the herbs that I have, because you know I'm drinking semi-contour, I'm drinking basilic, I'm drinking anisette, I'm drinking also bush tea, and you never know, I may have to drink a little marijuana tea as well. So we're going to move to this, and in terms of the industry, certainly that is part of the government's agenda. We articulated this, and we have draft legislation to allow for this to occur in Dominica. No, we can take the calls. I rather people call me than I just speak to them. Hello.
Good evening. Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Good evening. How are you? Okay. I'm a 24-year-old with a disabled child, and it has been very hard. I've spoken to other mothers in Dominica who have disabled children, and it is extremely hard on us. I have came to you already and spoke to you about my son, but unfortunately, what I was told by you, it was never fulfilled. Not by you, but to who you told to do it for my son. To know what the government has implemented to train with disabilities, because there are a lot of mothers who are very frustrated with the treatment that disabled children, I would say, receive in Dominica.
That's a big color, right? We'll certainly call you to fix whatever we have not addressed where you put your concern, and I will ensure that whatever promises we made to you, that we will fulfill it before the end of this week. So we have taken your number and we'll call you this evening to get the specific issue there. Clearly, I believe that we need to give greater attention, and we've articulated that in the Labour Party's manifesto. Greater attention to special needs children, and I believe that the government spends a lot of money on a number of educational programs and training, and I'm satisfied that we need to redirect some of the resources to take care of the most vulnerable among us, because the children with disabilities, they have skills, they have talent, and I understand and appreciate the difficulties which many of you have in caring for the children. you have to go to work, and the children need, 24-hour attention and care. And I understand that it can be challenging. It can be challenging. It can be challenging for you. And I hear the anguish in your voice, and I will certainly get to speak to you this evening. But the government really has to pay attention to this, and I give you the assurance that we will pay attention to this. This is why in the portfolio assignment, Dr. King has a particular responsibility. We try to highlight this particular area of focus. But it's something that we have to do. I know we've been in discussions with Beverly LeBlanc, who is a real champion for children with disabilities and trying to help them, and we're looking forward to signing a more formal agreement with her, because in these things you need people with an innate sense of passion and commitment to caring for these children, and we will certainly reach out to you, and we'll hope that some kind of assistance has been given to you by the welfare department. If not, then that will be certainly be rectified this week. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Is that Anupali?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to am I talking to the PM?
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
You may want to turn off your radio or your television so you listen to me, listen to us. So let's go ahead and ask the question.
Good evening, PM.
Yes, sir.
We had an update on the international airport, but any update on the cruise village?
On the
Any update on the cruise village?
Kings Hill?
The cruise village, any
Oh, the
update on
cruise. Oh, the
village?
cruise. Oh, the cruise. Yeah.
From cottage.
Yeah. Yeah. We have in regards to the cruise village, we have before us an agreement from the developers, which we are looking at and going through internally by the government. Once we finalize this, we review it internally, then we can take it to the next step. So notwithstanding COVID-19, we continue to engage the developers. We've met with them via Zoom, a few times, and we do have before us an agreement for this. As you know, it is a private-public partnership, and there are associated decisions which we have to take in respect to this. So it's not a straightforward stuff. There are implications for it that we have to engage various stakeholders on. But the agreement is before us. We are reviewing it, and once we are satisfied with its content, then we can take it to the next step. But this is on the cards as well.
An agreement for this.
Hello.
Hello, good night.
Yes.
Calling for the program.
Yes, sir.
And there are associated decisions which we have to take in respect to this. So it's not a straightforward.
Don't listen to me on the. Just ask the question, sir. Turn off the television or lower it, please.
Ask the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is Roy Mitchell calling from Mondus.
Yes, sir.
I just want to know anything concerning the road for Mondus.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, Roy. The road from Monbus, I believe I would have approved of this contract. I believe I approved of this contract about $3.some million. I need to follow up on it, and I'm sure the Minister of Public Works is listening. But my memory serves me right. I believe I approved this contract sometime last year or earlier this year. There are not many things I can't remember, but I do remember approving this contract. So I will cross-check with you, Roy, and we'll get back to you on this. Hello, next caller, please. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead, please. We're listening to you.
Okay. Hi, good day, PM. I'm really grateful for everything that you have done for us, but it has some disagreement to certain things that were said. They stated that they were giving. You said that you provided money to the Social Security, and we haven't received it.
That
And
is the income support? Is
secondly,
that income support?
right,
Yeah.
yes, in
Okay.
regard to the COVID,
Yes, ma'am.
right? A lot of families haven't received it. I don't know if they're lying to you or not, but a lot of family haven't received it. And in regard to the houses, I know you are doing all your best in regards to that, but to my understanding, I have been waiting in line for a house, and you know it have people that their family have two free houses, Skerrit, and all you giving them a house
Well,
when it have people like me that actually cannot afford rent, cannot take care of my kids, cannot do anything. I'm not getting money because I am working and I'm trying my best to provide what I am not costing.
Yeah.
And those that actually can, they are not doing anything. And you, I have messaged you already and you have told me to come to you. I tried universally, I have put in return and never gotten a response. But there are people like me that are actually begging for you to just help us. And those that actually are in need of the help, they pass them by. And I would say for some of your parliament representatives, they are the ones sometimes they are the picture. Some of them, COVID happened and you never saw none of their faces or say, or even if it's a WhatsApp message or something to the people, nothing. And there are people out there that they don't have social security because they are working for, let's say, you're doing some fast job or something, you cannot pay social security. There are people that are not getting nothing. You understand me? If your friend called you to go get a mechanic job for them or something, you go and do it to get some money, right? Now that COVID is, none of us not getting money. And how are we supposed to look for that? We cannot get the loan. We are not qualified for it. We cannot get social security. So what are the steps in measure for people like us?
Have you
Yes,
applied?
I understand
Have you applied for the
sometimes.
DSS? You were employed at the time of COVID.
Excuse me?
Were you employed at the time of COVID-19?
Yes, I was.
And so, have you applied to the DSS?
The COVID test?
Have you applied to the DSS, Dominican Social Security, for the funds?
Yes, I have, but they are not providing it to
Have
people
you
like
applied?
me. One.
Have you applied?
Yes, I have applied.
You have applied?
Yes.
Okay. But we have your number, so we will give you a call, darling, okay? We'll give you a call.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to make sure we call you. But first of all, I don't know. I'm not sure about people having 3-4 houses and we still get them homes. If you know of names, I would certainly need to know of these things. So that can be corrected. But that is not the intention of the government. That is not the government's policy. So if you know of anybody who went through the cracks and was able to benefit from this, if they have homes, I would like to know about this. But this is not, as far as I know, this is not true. But if you have information otherwise, please let me know the specific names, because people make sometimes general statements and comments with no facts and so on. And this is why I always tell people, make your case, but don't make a case against somebody else. So this is not necessarily the case. But if you know of anybody, if you know of half a person or one person, give me that name, and I will investigate it myself. The other thing with the DSS, DSS has in fact paid out monies. Clearly, I have been told they need more staff, and I have directed that we provide them with staff from the public service to go ahead and assist them in going through the forms. The same thing with the aid bank. The aid bank has done a good job in terms of the processing. So we also will be providing the aid bank with additional staff. And I've even said to the general manager, look, the staff I'm sending you, they can be available at night. So I can let them stay home in the daytime and go and work for you at night, so that we have a 24-hour program to facilitate the application process, the review process, and so on. Because I don't think we can work an 8 to 4 arrangement, because people need the monies to help the small businesses, and the people need the monies where the DSS is concerned for the income support. So we need to increase on the manpower that we have. The challenge that the DSS has and the aid bank is that people are applying many times on different names, and it is clogging up the system. So somebody goes in and they apply on one name, and they go and apply on the middle name, and so forth. So we have people, and they come back and apply again. So you have people who have applied 10 times, and that creates a problem. This is why the DSS is saying we can give you an appointment in July or in August. And I said, no, there's nobody who should be getting appointments in August. August is too far for me. So we have to be a little bit patient. They're calling people. Sometimes they call people and the people are not responsive. So we have to help the DSS and aid bank to help us, and so that we can move much faster. But people are in fact, people have in fact gotten payments from these two institutions. I would like to see more people get more quickly, and that's what we're going to be assisting the aid bank and the DSS this week on. But people in fact getting, the money is not for us to keep. The $15.7 million of the aid bank and the DSS is to help people with their income support. And the $5 million is to help people with small businesses once they qualify. So far, I've been told 53 bus drivers have gotten money. So it's nice to see that the bus drivers are applying at the aid bank. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Yeah.
Hello, hi, Prime Minister. I had a question, and I'm not sure whether or not it's been addressed or not. But I was calling because I was actually one of the first people who were brought into the whole situation of quarantine. And I've actually been here ever since. So we're going on approximately 3 months now. So I'm trying to figure out when exactly we're going to be allowed to actually go home. I mean, people like me that are in my situation. I mean, I'm pregnant and stuck here. So I'm just trying to get some clear kind of answers as to what to expect. Because, you know,
so you're here for 3 months, you said, my friend, or 3 weeks?
No. It's been about 3 months.
3 months. And you're wondering when you can leave Dominica?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a charter flight, I can get you out of Dominica tomorrow morning.
A chartered flight?
Yeah, if you have a chartered flight. The problem is that the airlines are not running. The airlines are running. We have been able to facilitate Dominicans coming home by getting Seaborn to bring people in, One Caribbean. We're now chartering a plane to take our students from Cuba to Dominica. So really, flights are running by charters. And until the borders are open and Liat starts flying and Seaborn starts flying, the French ports are closed. I just saw the French president addressing his nation today, indicating that he's going to open up the ports to certain countries. So commercial airlines are not flying on a regular basis. But if you can get out by with a charter, or we can certainly facilitate you getting out.
Okay, so in terms of the charter information, I mean, where would I go to get all of that? But I mean, I was looking.
You'll have to check it for yourself. Yeah, you'll have to check it for yourself. So once you check it for yourself, then you call me and tell Skerrit, I got a charter, I want to get out. I will open the airport for you, my friend.
Okay.
But we're looking at the possibility of opening up our borders in July. I'm not sure what date in July yet. But certainly in July, God's willing, we'll open up the borders. So certainly by July, we would have commercial airlines coming in and leaving Dominica at will.
But I guess maybe this is my question. I was wondering why it was never considered beforehand. I mean, if there are ships coming in and if there are students returning home, why wasn't it ever discussed? Actually,
my friend, I mean, let's be fair to us there. We have tried to facilitate people coming in. Citizens who are stranded, students who are stranded, people trying to get to Dominica. To tell the government that it now has to preoccupy itself with getting people to go back to America or go back to England can't be the government's responsibility in this circumstance. Ports are closed. Planes are flying. The government doesn't own aircrafts. I mean, we have tried our best to facilitate people. I mean, and even bringing people in is costing us a huge amount of money. I mean, it's costing us on average $500 EC per day per person. in quarantine. I mean, I've been told that, for example, at one point we had how many people? 318 people at one time in quarantine at $500 per person. I mean, this is a significant sum.
But would it have not been? But would it have not been a cheaper option to instead allow those people to return by flight instead of keeping them in the quarantine for 2 weeks?
You're speaking about yourself particularly, darling. But when you have students, I mean, let's be fair. I mean, you came into Dominica. If you have to, I'm saying to you, if you want to get out, I can firstly get in out. But the government will not be the one who will get the flights for you. The government doesn't own an aircraft. But if you get a charter, if you can get a boat ride, and it's a legal means, trust me, I will facilitate you. But my preoccupation now as the Prime Minister is to get Dominicans who are stranded out of Dominica to be home safely and to be home with their families. But when they come, they have to go to quarantine in this circumstance. And that is my preoccupation. I have students all over the place. I have Dominicans who are stranded, who went out to me for medical reasons. We're trying our best to facilitate them. We have chartered flights. We have allowed Seaborn to come in. We have allowed Leah to come in. We have allowed one Caribbean to come in. We charter one Caribbean to come in from Cuba, hopefully next week or next week Friday, I believe. So we facilitated Dominicans coming in. But I can't, unless if you are sick and you have to get out of Dominica to go to Martinique for medical care, I cannot speak to facilitating you, my dear. I'm very sorry about that. Next question, please.
Yeah, hello, good night, PM.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, I saw you last year at Jungle Bay to discuss about my housing situation. You told me to leave my number, my name, which I did, and up till this day, I have not received any call, and now we're in the hurricane season, and my housing situation has not changed, and I don't know what to do.
Okay. All right. Okay, but I think we're getting your number, and someone will contact you on my behalf. Okay? Yeah. Next caller, please. When is government going to replenish the education loan facility at the aid bank? I think the person is speaking about the 2% loan that the government put in place since 2007, I believe. Every year we provide a top-up to the aid bank on this facility. I can't tell you this year we'll do it because I'm not sure which student will want to leave Dominica to start school in August with COVID-19. It's a decision that people have to make, whether it makes sense to go and pay all this money to be online and in a dorm room in America, or whether you skip and you wait for January to start your school year. If I were to advise you, I would tell anybody who wants to go to school who wants to start school in August, you go to school in January. But it is something I will have to speak to the Ministry of Education about how much money we have at the aid bank and whether it needs topping up. And if it does, then we will certainly top it up. The last time I checked, there was some money there, but with so many people, we educated so many people these days, I guess it was used up very quickly. But we do that every year, my friend, and I'm sure the Minister of Finance wouldn't mind topping up. Though we're still owing universities some $9 million. That is coming down from, what, $15 or so million? It's $9 million we owe still. I saw in the report from the PS of Education, outstanding. 9 million, I think. That's what the PS told me. We'll cross-check. They tell me it might be more. But I said the PS will be 9 million. I was so happy it's 9 million alone. I hope it's not more. I hope it's 9 million so I can pay this. At least 9 million I can do something. What is the update on the 40% relief on students' loans? I believe the Ministry of Education is reviewing that list. And I don't know, if one student qualifies, then let's treat it one student, rather than trying to do the whole group of people and complicating things. So if 5 students qualify, let's move the 5 students and then 2 later and 5 later so that people they don't think I am bullshitting them. So I will have to pay attention to this, but I keep hearing the Ministry of Education tell me that they're reviewing this and reviewing this thing and so on. So, but it's just taking too long. See, the government works slower than me, so I work faster than the government. The government works very, very slow. Yeah, too slow. Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, good evening, PM.
Yes, sir. Good night.
I'm calling from Transport North, calling on behalf of my 78-year-old grandfather. Right?
From where?
It's been almost 3 years
From where?
Transport North.
Chance. Mm.
It's almost been 3 years since Hurricane Maria passed, and it's also completely destroyed. So we seek assistance from Samaritan First. They expected the project to get done, and they left some materials, never got the work done or anything. After we invested almost $10,000 into a foundation to get the house built, nothing was done for it. So we are aware that there is a housing program by the government. So my mom applied for him. She applied on behalf of him, and we've just been hearing. We've been waiting for word for months now, for like 2 years now. So we just like to know what's the situation, because we see houses started in Chance. We see things going up in Portsmouth. We know they're part of the housing program. So we just like to know, because when she applied for him, we were assured that he would receive a house because of his situation. Because he is visually impaired. He lives in his son's house for the past 2 years. And it's really a great concern to him every single day. So we just really like some assurance.
But we'll get your number, I'm sure, on the call. So we have your number. We'll contact you on this so that I can be advised on what the specific issue where your grandfather is concerned, and to see what needs to be done. Okay? Hello? Hi.
Hello? Hi.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Good evening. I'm calling from Kingsville. And since Maria was left standing with my 2 kids, up to now my house is down. I haven't received any help, no help at all. And I need help. I need to see somebody. I need to get some help somewhere. I just need help, and I'm tired. It's almost, it's another hurricane season, and I'm just out of it. I don't know what I'm going to do, what's going to happen to me and my 2 children. So I would really like to hear from you. What should I do?
Well,
because I sent in a lot of applications. Sorry, Mr. Prime Minister. I sent in a lot of applications through Jai. I gave our new parrot right now. I even extended to the one in Grand Bay, just to see where I can get a little help. And up to now, nothing.
Well, we will certainly make contact with you and investigate your particular matter. So I will get to know exactly what the issue is in respect to your request. Hello? Hi, go ahead.
Good
Hello?
evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
I'm calling from Kulibi Street. Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please. We're hearing you.
I'm calling what is in place housing for the people of Kulibi Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, as you know, I mean, there's several homes which we need to relocate in Kulibi Street, especially the low-lying ones, the ones along the river. And we had started the process of acquiring the lands in Mako Street from the National Bank for the relocation of those residents. That is work in progress. I am a little bit disappointed that we have not, we're not as far as we should be, and so I accept that. And my hope is that the Ministry of Housing can crank up on this and to bring some kind of finality to the processes involved with the finalization of the construction of those homes for the residents of Kulibi Street. So we take a criticism on this, on our slowness. but I'm hoping that we can certainly crank up on this for you. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, good night.
But that's before. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm calling on the behalf of Maranatha Square. Fishley, you are aware that there's 2 people in shelter?
I'm aware of a couple of people, yes.
Okay, so we just want to know, due to hurricane season, to know what has taken place because we are not hearing from our power.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that you're not hearing from me for your power rep. I mean, the problem with you guys is that we listen to too much gossip on the streets, you know, and we have to be a little more focused and a little bit more grateful to the government. I mean, this government has done a lot for housing and assisting people with their housing and so on. And housing is not an entitlement, I keep telling people. This is because of the benevolence of the leadership of this country and of the government and of the party that we have reached out to so many hundreds of families across Dominica. But people get a sense that it's an entitlement. I mean, I was a strong supporter of the Freedom Party. I was involved in the Freedom Party, but I can't tell you one house the Freedom Party built in my constituency in 15 years. I'm not necessarily criticizing them for that. And I'm certainly the United Workers Party did not build any house, did not fix a house in my constituency for the 4.5 years it stayed in office. I mean, what we have done in housing in Dominica is extraordinary. I mean, we have caused a revolution in housing and improving people's access to housing and you know, all income groups in this country, whether it is through construction of homes, whether it's through highly concessionary interest rates, we've done so. But people have to accept that the government cannot satisfy everybody's needs at the same time. You know, I mean, but we have to be happy that people are benefiting and our turn will come. You know, so I'm aware of the situation with some of the people in Maranatha Square, but the folks there will also, in Pishley and Maranatha Square, will also agree that we have been able to place many of them in these homes before some of the residents from Petit Savan. Before some of the residents from Petit Savan. And sometimes you know, we're human beings, and sometimes you almost get discouraged by the comments that people make. You know, about these things. You know, we have to, in this country, show a greater sense of gratitude. And I keep telling people, I don't want people to say thanks to me, you know, because I am just a messenger, I'm just an instrument, you know, of doing good. But we have to minimize this unnecessary rancor and so on. And with our turn, let's pray to the Lord that our turn will come, and our turn will come. And for the lady from Kingshill, I'm not sure. I mean, we have this $40 million World Bank housing project. The question is, did you apply for this project? Did you apply? This project is about to start. We have to engage and engage ourselves and position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities that are available. You know, that are available. There are many people who applied for these homes. We have started finalizing the qualifying people. We now, because of COVID-19, the design and supervisory firm cannot come into the country, and they're looking to make alternative arrangements for the supervision of the housing project. Once we put that in place, we will see the commencement of actual construction of homes under the World Bank Finance housing program. So, I mean, what this government has done is extraordinary, and I'm not boasting the government. As you know, people know me. I clothe myself in humility, so I'm not boasting the government. I'm just drawing the people's attention what we have done and what we continue to do. And even heavily criticized. People criticize us for giving people free homes. I mean, people criticize me for giving people free homes. But I believe that one of the ways to address poverty is through housing. And we'll continue on this. We have a lot more homes to build. And we'll continue to build those homes for the benefit of so many families who need one. So I'm hoping that in the next few days we can settle the remaining number of homes in Bellevue-Chopin and put this project to a close. But we will never be able to satisfy everybody at once. I mean, if you have 30 homes and 130 people apply, you can only get 30. at the time. And people have to understand this, So, but we will make every effort to ensure that we can help as many people in a shorter period of time as possible. Hi, good evening. I am from One Prosper, and I am querying about the road that was being constructed. It has been at a standstill for quite some time now, and it's terrible, especially when it is raining. I would have preferred if you thank us and recognize the extraordinary work we have done. The amount of money I've spent on this road in One Prosper, I could give everybody a house somewhere else and empty up One Prosper. I mean, the slope stabilization in One Prosper has cost us, Jesus Christ, just to cut, it's a lot of money. We spent, millions and millions and millions just for slope stabilization. And as you know, we had done the drains in Upper Mount Prosper. We had done the surface of asphalt. The quality was not good, so the contractor has to come in to rip off the asphalt and replace it. We started some concrete works in Lower Mount Prosper, close to where Ambassador Charles's home is. And the next step is to continue to surface the rest. There's some contractual payment issues with the contractor. I'm hoping that we can resolve this. And once we resolve this, we will recommence. Where the excavation was done, the slope stabilization was done, we will surface that area. But you will agree, darling, or sir, that this is a lot of money spent in that Roseau Valley. I said I could give each of you $300,000 and relocate every one of you and still have change left. The same thing in Cochrane. Over $15 million in Cochrane. And I know what Dr. McIntyre did from a parable. The road is large like any highway in Texas. You know what I'm saying? 3 vehicles can pass. Asphalt from Canefield all the way to the top of Mount Prosper by my friend Keith Richards there. So we're mindful of this, my friend. Mount Prosper, we will fix it up. The power up there is on top of the action there. But we spent a lot of money so far, and we still have some more to spend. But I'm sure you'll agree that the government gave Mount Prosper serious positive attention over the years, over the many years, I should say. When will government do the reclassification of the public service? The process has started, or the reclassification is an important exercise. We have been in discussions with the OECS Secretariat, the Director General there, who's providing us with some assistance, and also the regional institution as well, who will be providing us with some technical assistance with the reclassification. Obviously, we have to look at the teaching service separately from the rest, look at the nursing separate from the rest, and look at the rest of the public service. So this is a commitment that we have given and a commitment that we will fulfill. It's important that we do reclassification because there are many attendant benefits, both for the employer and for the employee, and for, of course, the wider Dominican population, for us to go through reclassification of the public service. But it is on the cards. It's a major priority for us, and we will certainly seek to push this going forward. Yeah. Hello? 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 Hi, go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, please.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yep, I'm hearing you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Prime Minister.
Yes, good evening to you.
Good evening. Yes, I just have one concern, sir. After Maria, you promised that everybody's house was destroyed would get assistance. Now I know of this lady. She's an elderly. She's 80 and over, and she hasn't gotten anything from the government. She's 80 and over, and she hasn't gotten any assistance from the government. And now the hurricane season is
Well, let me ask you a question,
wondering-
Let me ask you a question. Does this lady have family?
Yes, she does have
Yeah, but
family.
so where's the family? I mean, see, that's the problem, you know. I mean, let us be fair to the government now. I mean, we have situations where, and it's a discussion we need to have in this country. People have to take care of their parents and grandparents, first and foremost. There are people with big homes, upstairs and downstairs, 3-story building, and their parents and grandparents are living in deplorable conditions. And sometimes people next door. We have to speak about societal responsibility and family responsibility. There is no way I could have my big house in Vickers and my aunt and my grandparents or my brothers and sisters homeless. They will find a bed in my house. You know, and if I had to sleep on the floor for my aunt or my mom to sleep on my bed, I will do so. That's how I grew up. That's how I was raised, and that's how I see my life. We have in this country to speak about our children's responsibility to our parents. Our parents struggle to send us to school. They give us the shoes and they stay without shoes. They give us a meal and they stay hungry for us to go to school and for us to learn. And then you have people, big job, big money, big house. I mean, some of them have no children, but they have a big house and so forth, which is fine with me. They have 2 motor cars parked. And how would you tell me about your granny who is 88 years old? How do you sleep? How do you sleep and how do you wake up in the morning? How do you go to church and you're not taking care of your family? So we really have to talk about those things. And so on. If the person doesn't have family and the government has not reached out to the person, then I will chastise the government for that. And I will chastise myself. Because I take full responsibility for whatever the government does, especially if the thing goes wrong. But we have to speak about this thing in society. That we have to look out for each other. And especially our family, we have to look out for our family. So yes, we will reach out to these people. But if they have a family and they stay in a family home and they're comfortable, I mean, why should the government build a house for an 88-year-old person if the person has children? And if the person's children all have homes? All have homes. And so it's an issue that we have to deal with. And I don't think it is fair for people to say that the government has not helped. If the people have family. We try to help, and people know this government, people know me. I mean, helping people is part of my DNA. I don't blink my eyes twice or once to help people. We may not get everybody at the same time, but nobody can challenge this government on its outreach to people. So we take a number, we have a number, and we'll certainly investigate this particular cause, this particular matter. But I wanted to make this point, not necessarily directed at you, but to make a general point of the need for us to, as family, as children and grandchildren, to look after our parents and grandparents and our siblings, even if you're in the family, look out for each other. I have watches, but in my time, I never have correct time on my watch and so on. So I put a watch because they say you have to put a watch or something, you know, and I mean, so I don't know what time is it. Normally I get time on my phone. So it is, I mean, now I'm saying it is what time for me, David? Yeah, I don't, it's in after 12 or something, you know. You see? So what time do we end? So 8 o'clock. And what time is it now? 20 past. Okay, so we'll go to 8:45 because I suspect people have some burning questions for me. So we'll go 8:45 and we'll end at 8:45. But next week is 6 to 8.
Hello?
All right. I suspect these guys have to go somewhere else, you know, they have to go somewhere else, so you know, so. But it's curfew time, I don't know where you guys going. Yes, please go ahead, my friend.
Hello, good evening.
Hi.
Yes, Mr. Palrep. I'm the lady who came from Anguilla with the 3 boys after Irma.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah.
Yes, and we need assistance in a home. We try to we bought it, and we need assistance in rebuilding.
Okay. Okay, but we got her number? So we got your number, darling. We'll give you a call, okay?
And we need assistance in our home. We try to work.
Yeah, we have gotten that question, that request. That's the next one. Hello?
Hello, PM. Sorry
Hi.
that am I on, yeah?
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm sorry that I have to call back twice, sir. I am just a bit like taken aback by listening to a lot of callers calling. And I get the impression that a house is like an entitlement to people, and the people are realizing that it is a privilege. I know the government has spent millions of dollars assisting thousands of people. Not one has called tonight to thank the Prime Minister, the government, for what it has done. And a lot of people sometimes have been very unfair and unrealistic and not thinking that the government has a lot of people to attend to. And to be making such a demand is not fair to you. We have a lot of people, even in Dominica, who are benefiting the wealth and riches of their parents and grandparents and not using the resources of these people to assist themselves. But yet still they're making a demand on the government for the government to help them, and that is not fair. In the United Kingdom, you know what the government is doing? If you have a parent who probably is sick and she has the money, the family is not a beneficiary unless she's dead. The government uses the resources of the family to assist the parent itself. And I think people must be a little more realistic and be a little more fair. The government has spent millions assisting people in scholarships, in health, in education, in agriculture. And I believe some people just not fair to you, Mr. Prime Minister. And I think I had to call to say that let us be realistic. Let us work with the government. Take your time, your neighbor, get to thank God and wait. Your time will come. You cannot, if you want the government to help you, how many of us are saying, Mr. Prime Minister, I have one galvanized and a plywood. Can you give me the nail and the photo? None of that, nobody's coming with that. But they are coming thinking that the Prime Minister is entitled to a house and the Prime Minister must give them a house. I think this must stop. Let us work with the government, meet the government halfway. And Mr. Prime Minister, maybe you should do what Leonard Clinton said. Take the house and rent it for them or sell it for them. Have a good day, my friend.
Yeah. Well, there'll be some additional conditions that will be placed on those persons who will be receiving homes. And those conditions will be articulated very soon. In some cases, people will have to contribute something towards the house. And people cannot rent those homes. They have to occupy the home within maximum of 3 months of receiving the keys. Because if you apply for a home and you say that you are in a difficult situation, you should want to occupy the home immediately. And so there are certain conditions that we're going to be placing on these homes. People have to look at their own insurance for these homes, because the government will not be in a position to give you a home and still fix it for you over a period of time. I mean, we have to be realistic, and at the end of the day, we can't be spending the same different monies twice, on one facility. So there's some changes that are going to be made to these homes, and to how people go about having access to these homes. We have to bring a certain level of discipline to this, because it is extraordinary. It is mind-boggling to hear comments from some people who say, "Well, what is a home? What is an apartment?" Well, a home is a basic need. We all, as human beings and people in the animals in the animal kingdom, we all aspire to a home, and the government has facilitated, thousands of Dominicans to own a home, and I think we have to show appreciation for that. But certainly, we are reviewing these things, and we will be placing some additional conditions on those who would receive those homes. Yeah, caller, please.
Hello, good night.
Hi. Go ahead, please. Good night.
Hi, is this live on air with the Prime Minister?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, hello, good evening, Mr. Prime Minister.
Hi, good evening to you.
First of all, I would like to thank you for creating the National Employment Program. I only have two concerns. One, I'd like to know if there will be a financial institution for serious workers under the National Employment Program to have loans, because whenever we go to financial institutions such as the credit union or NBD, we are being denied loans to build our home for our families. Two, I would also like to know, will the National Employment Program be reviewed, because many of us work diligently, we are very hardworking, and I would like to know if it will be reviewed where we are applied under the government system instead of being left under the National Employment Program when we are in vacant positions like myself. So these are my concerns with you.
Yeah. When we created the National Employment Program, it was to provide experience to people who would have just left school. And so they would have gotten some work experience and place them in a better situation to attract more permanent employment. And there were additional aspects of the NEP that came about: community enhancement, beautification, and so forth. We've placed people in the private sector, we've placed people in the public service, and many have found themselves permanent employment with the employer. So the people who would have found permanent employment in the public service, the people who would have found permanent employment in the private sector based on their own deportment and their whole attitude towards work. And so it was not created for any permanence or permanent appointment, because really one is considered to be an intern. The challenge we have in many aspects with the NEP, one of the challenges, is that people do not want to avail themselves to opportunities for permanent employment. Because one of the conditions which we had set on the NEP when it was introduced back then was that for us to renew your contract, you would have to show that you have made efforts to seek permanent employment, but have failed to do so. And we have found in many instances, and then the NEP would have served as a database of skill sets. So if an employer or an investor wants employees or people to work, they would send to the NEP and say, look, I need 5 people with the following skills and qualifications. And we would have checked in our database and say, look, we have 20 people with those skills and qualifications. And we would send the names to that prospective employer, who would then interview these people and take the 5 from the 20 whom he would have. We have done some of that, and in some cases people are not prepared to avail themselves of this permanent employment. So the NEP is going to be brought back to its original structure. And I'm hoping that the paper comes to Cabinet this week to bring the NEP back to greater structure, greater accountability. People have to come to work. People have to work diligently. And I must say, the vast majority of people who honor the NEP work very hard, work very diligently. They love what they do, and they give a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. So the NEP is going to be for us. We're not going to get rid of it. That's a commitment I give. But we have to bring a greater sense of discipline and accountability where the people who are engaged on NEP are concerned. So they'll be restructured and so forth. What we have been talking about to address your particular concern about the loans is to look at whether we should not, for example, people under the Community Enhancement Project, they have a 6-month contract. The idea is, should we not look at doing a year or 2, and people who are employed in the public service or employed in the private sector, should we not look at a 2-year contract rather than a 1-year contract as it currently is? So all of these things are on the table for consideration and review. And once we come up with some decisions, then we'll make them available to the public and so on. So I am aware of the challenge that some of you are having in respect to being able to get particular loans, especially loans to build a home. So that's an issue that we need to find a way of addressing. Yes. You say, when the borders are opened, if coming from the UK, will I have to go into mandatory quarantine? Will I have to travel with my test certificate to avoid mandatory quarantine? And should that test certificate be issued 2 weeks prior to travel? Certainly not 2 weeks before travel. Certainly not 2 weeks before travel. We have not come to a conclusion on how will we treat with citizens and visitors once they arrive. We know that some kind of test would need to be administered. We're also debating within the government system with the Ministry of Health, or discussing rather, the issue of whether the traveler whether a test taken by the traveler from the country he or she is coming from would suffice. And if it would suffice, what would be the time limit? So how soon or how close to your date of arrival in Dominica you would have to take a test? Is it 24 hours before? Is it 48 hours, or is it 72 hours? So all of these things are being discussed, and once we finalize this, I will be in a position to give you the precise protocol that we'll be following. But certainly, to protect the population, some kind of testing will need to be done. On the issue of mandatory quarantine, we have not concluded on that either. We're still discussing this. As I said, for me, it makes no real sense if we're going to open up our borders and we're going to tell a tourist that you have to go to quarantine. So I believe testing is the thing that we have to focus on. And we are building our capacity to do more tests in a shorter period of time so that we can facilitate people. Now, when you just start, a few people will come. But as time goes by, a lot more people are going to come, and you're going to have to determine what is the real capacity or the efficacy in the testing and the facilities that you have in being able to test so many people at one time. So, as I said, we're discussing at the CARICOM level, we're discussing at the national level. There's no reference you can go to, there's no best practices that you can follow. Every country is trying something out, different things, taking bits and pieces here and putting together. It's just a trial and error. But the key is, what is the risk threshold you want to work on, and what can you do to mitigate against the risk that you're going to have? Which is, the risk really is people coming into Dominica who may have COVID-19, and how do you mitigate against that risk of spreading in the population? So it is a very thin, it's a very blurry line of what do you do. And there's no foolproof system. There's no foolproof system. And there's no tested system. This is why countries have been opening up gradually, and this is the path that we're looking at following as well. But most countries are still in lockdown. Most countries' borders are still closed. In the United Kingdom, where you are, the airlines are at odds with the government of the United Kingdom on mandatory quarantine of passengers and so on. So it's a debate, it's a discussion which we have to continue to have. And I'm hoping that, as I said, I'll be in a better position in the next few days to give you more details on this. So let us take this forward. Okay. PM, what about the Rust compound? When can we see some much needed activities there? And are you going to invite another school to come in to occupy the compound? I'm having a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock by Zoom with the developers, with the investors. There are some outstanding issues that we have to address. And I'm hoping that coming out of this meeting, I can have more definitive schedules for this. Give me until tomorrow to have this meeting with the developer, with the investor, and I'll be in a better position to consider this. But we we are keen on this. We look forward to this investor being able to carry out the duties. Obviously, with this COVID-19, it has sent everything in tailspin in this world, and we just have to hope that things can get back to normal as soon as possible. Mao is a problem when driving big trucks. It's creating a mess. Even the people sitting along the roadside, that's close to the lab, right? Causing obstruction. What the government has in plan for this road? To do the bypass in Mao, as you know, is a huge cost. There are discussions internally about the bypass in Masak in the first instance. I think there's some costings that have been looked at for the Masak bypass. But I think we have to look at some of the abandoned buildings in Mao and to see whether we can gradually start acquiring those and to see where we can widen the road for the time being, and as we go along, see how we can widen some of the sections of the road, because that is the only option there. The other option is to go by the bay, and that in itself will be a huge cost with the sea defense wall, plus you run the risk of impacting negatively the fishing, which is a major source of employment for the people of Maho. So it's a discussion that needs to be had, and a number of things need to be looked at before a final determination is made on this. But I accept entirely your concern there. It's a real bottleneck, and if all of this construction taking place in Dominica with bigger trucks now than before, it is a major issue there. Any date set on the budget address? Not yet. Not yet. Budget address, COVID-19, Hurricane Maria, you really do not want to be the Minister of Finance of Dominica, But God is good, and certainly, but there are some exciting things that we put in the budget. One of them is focusing the small business, and I will discuss some of that later down at some point. Okay. Hello? Hi. Person is on? No?
Hi, good night, sir.
Hi, good night to you.
I am very thankful for the good work you are.
Go ahead. We're hearing you. Phone call off. Okay. Hello, go ahead, please. Good night.
Good night, Prime Minister.
Hi.
I must congratulate you on the work that you are doing in Dominica. I'm very happy to see how Dominica is moving forward and what you have done so far in COVID-19. May God continue to bless you and give you wisdom and strength to continue to do the work that you are doing. And I am concerned about, the reason why I'm calling is because I live near the river. Well, right now I'm in the US, but my house is still near the river and my children are down there. We live near the river in Baffin State. And then after Maria and Erica, where we were damaged for Erica, and then after Maria, what I saw, it is still frightening, and then we are in another hurricane season, and we have not seen anything yet. Because we were told that people are going to build a bridge from Emsol to Baffin State, and then after have a river wall.
Yeah.
But we have not seen anything. So I was just concerned about that. How far is that?
Yeah, I addressed this in earlier part of the program. Somebody asked about the question. This river retaining walls are part of the bridge project. Clearly, we will not build this bridge during the, before the hurricane season is over. But what we intend to do is to do some dredging in that area, and also to reinstate some of the rock armor to help mitigate against the impact of flooding. So we're hoping to do this. I'm hoping this month we can do some of these activities there. But we know of the precarious nature of this area. We know of the anxieties of this area, and we are mindful of the need for us to take action on this. Hello?
Yes, good night.
Hi.
Good night, PM.
Good night.
I'm calling from Wesley.
Wesley.
I want to congratulate you on a job well done. And I want to congratulate Fidel Grant on a job well done. Agriculture is blooming in Wesley. All farmers are back to the field. So I just want to congratulate you and Fidel Grant and all what you all are doing for Dominica. Good night.
Thank you, darling.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fidel Grant will be with me next Sunday. So he'll be with me next Sunday to talk agriculture. The plan is to bring a minister or two with me so that you can ask them questions directly. And I will also ask them questions myself, you know. And they won't have the questions in advance. So so you can ask them some questions specific to their ministries and so forth. And I want to also, I know there has been some criticism of my colleagues and even myself of not being sufficiently responsive on WhatsApp and telephone calls. But just to say, you know, we accept the criticism and we will seek to correct this as far as possible. But it's difficult to manage WhatsApp calls and WhatsApp messages. You know, I certainly try my best to respond to as many as possible. But it's difficult to manage this. And of course, with the issue of social distancing, perhaps cannot be at the offices as they normally would. But we look forward to resuming constituency offices this month, taking into consideration all of the hygienic practices and the guidelines given to us by the Ministry of Health, so as to address the issue of we not seeing our power reps as often as we should. But certainly COVID-19 would have contributed to that. And people know me. I don't. If a power rep is not being seen and there's justification for criticism, I don't shield any power rep when it comes to this. I believe in elected officials people having access to the elected officials. But I also believe too that we as citizens have to be a little bit fair sometimes and be mindful that all of these people are human beings as well. And let us work together towards addressing our common challenges. I've been told that tomorrow is World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day. So, you know, let us do something nice for an elderly person. Let us cook extra and share the elderly. Let us go and clean an elderly's home. Let us bring some packages to the Grotto home and to the infirmary and to the Mao home and to the home in Grange in Portsmouth and Lago Portsmouth and the senior citizens homes in Massac and also in Mount Daniel. Let us just reach out to them, you know, and tell them that we care about them and we do love them. Okay? Any other person online? No? But I want to, it's 8:45, I've been told. It looks like the people who are helping me with this program have places to go. So they're watching they watch, and they have correct time, I don't, so I don't. But I'm happy to engage you and to your questions. I take no offense to your questions or your criticisms. I think all of the criticisms were were made in good spirit, and I don't take offense to them. And neither do I hope no one takes offense to my responses either, because my responses were in good spirit as well. This is a conversation that we're having. Next week we'll be speaking about agriculture and whatever other questions that you may have. As I said, the Minister of Agriculture will be present. And I may bring in the Minister of Public Works to give an update on some of the concerns which some of you were raised and to give more details to this. But the idea is to really engage you and hear from you. And it's important for us to know how you're living, what are your challenges, what are your fears, what are your aspirations, what are your dreams, and how you believe government can work with you. It always has to be, how can government work with me? And how can I work with the government? It is not about what the government doing for me or what the government, how can we work together to resolve my problem? You know, this is what I want to do. Is there any way you can help me achieve my objective? And I think with that attitude, we can certainly help each other. But I want to thank you. You know, this COVID-19 has really dealt a deadly blow to us, a serious blow to us. It has really changed the whole way how we're going to conduct our lives and our businesses. And this is the new normal, as people say. But we have to press on. We can't be daunted. I am not daunted by the task. I reflect on the challenges which Job went through, the tests which Job went through, and he kept his faith. And I think that we as a Christian people, or people who believe that there is a superior being, that we can't give up. We can't lose faith. Life was never meant to be a joy ride. You have joyous moments, and you also have challenging moments. For me, as the chief servant, I have a greater responsibility and a bigger load to carry. But I shall carry my load. I shall carry my share of the load. My hope and prayer is that each of us will carry our load and do our part, as small as it may be. And I think if we look at life in a positive way, you know, I was saying to people, we must never look at the glass half empty. We must always see the glass half full. And what can we do to bring it to the brim, to take it to the brim? Because if we see the glass half empty, we are not paying attention to the opportunities that are there in life. And in every challenge, there are always opportunities. And we ourselves as citizens must have a more positive outlook on life. We spend too much of our time being negative, you know, doom and gloom. And we have to celebrate people. We have to celebrate people's successes. We have to celebrate people's upliftment. You know, if the Lord bless us, we must bless somebody. That's the only way our blessings can multiply. You know, give and it shall come back to you, full measure. You know, if your cup runneth over. You know, and when you give to the Lord. You know, and we have to be grateful. We have to be grateful for God that we're alive. There are parts of this world where people can't go out to their homes because of fear of death. You know, there's famine in country, people dying of hunger. That's not happening in Dominica. There's no malnutrition in Dominica. You know, there's nobody going hungry in Dominica. Yes, somebody may skip a meal, but the person is not hungry. And if we know of somebody who's hungry, and we have, why don't we reach out to the person? And that's what life is supposed to be. And I think we have to be able to live together and live as brothers and sisters. You know, we cannot in this country engage ourselves in an unending political campaign. It's not helping anybody. It's not benefiting anybody. It's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting your family. It's not benefiting your country. Yes, there'll always be politics. Yes, we'll always have our political sides. But why can't we move on the day after elections and be able to engage each other, to break bread together, to debate issues, to debate ideas, to debate ideologies, if you wish, you know, because the way the world is going with all of these challenges and as the years go by, countries have to fend for themselves. I mean, see what happened with COVID-19. I mean, countries like ours couldn't get supplies because the bigger countries were holding them. They were confiscating them. Luckily, we have friends, you know, who remain true to us and loyal to us and who reach out to us and provided us with some of the support we needed. And had it not been for the Pan American Health Organization, who was able to overcome a lot of these obstacles in procuring goods and services for us and PPEs and so forth on our behalf, would have a challenge. And so we really have to work together. You know, there's just too much, it's too much of a negative spirit in this country. And then I see things on social media, you know. If the Lord blesses us and He gets us to go to university, we go to university to gain knowledge. To gain knowledge, not to show who can be the brightest idiot. I mean, if we're a medical doctor, we are supposed to cure people, irrespective of the person's political persuasion. We're supposed to educate people. If we're a lawyer, we're supposed to advise people on law and to truth and to speak law to power, law and truth. You know, if we're a farmer, we must feed the nation. If we're a teacher, we must ensure that every child can learn, every child is exposed to tuition and to scholastic discipline. You know, if we're a public servant, we have to be diligent. We have to recognize that the people are helped, you know, and that we can reach out to each other. I mean, how do we say that we're a Christian nation? How do we talk about church and Bible and now people on Zoom we're following church and then we're not looking out for people, that we're negative? How can someone be a religious leader and don't speak to half of his congregation? Is that what it was supposed to be? You know, what's happening? We're all mortals, and people believe that they will never need somebody. I'm not a perfect being. I'm far from being perfect, but I try to treat people the way that I would like people to treat me, with respect, with the understanding that everybody is a human being. I have always gone about life with understanding that I am not better than no one, and no one is better than me. And we have to treat people with respect, and we have to treat people with love. You know, it is not because you are on the other side politically that we can't have a conversation. Because look at what Maria has done. Look at what COVID-19 has done to us. You know, and every time the Lord brings these things about to remind us of our humanity, to remind us of our need to our own mortality, we take note of it for a short period of time, and then after it subsides, then we go back to our own. We cannot want to be a Cain and Abel. Why did Cain kill his brother Abel? Out of mere jealousy and envy. Nothing. That's it. What did it profit him? We have to work together to build a more prosperous and just society, and to ensure that the Dominica and the world we want to bequeath to succeeding generations is a Dominica that is better off than when it was bequeathed to us. And to my young people who go to university, going to university doesn't give you any right to believe that you're a superior being. Going to university is merely to acquire knowledge. You know, the Lord gives wisdom. Universities don't give wisdom. And if you have knowledge, showing a certificate is not knowledge. Knowledge must be acquired, it must be seen in your actions, in your deeds, in your manner, in your whole behavior, in your whole deportment. It is not. It is not. It is a badge of honor, yes, because you have attained something, but it is not. It doesn't give you the right to believe that you're a superior being. And so we have to have a greater sense of humility in the country, among ourselves. And where we fall short, we pray to the Lord that He will help us the next time to fulfill our responsibilities. I sincerely, I have no animosity towards anybody. The Lord has placed me in this position. I'm not sure for how long again. But I am trying to do the best I can with what I have. And when I pray to the Lord, outside of praying for my family and friends and even for my enemies, or those who consider me to be enemies, because I don't have any enemies, I pray, where I am concerned personally, I pray for two things. I pray for health, good health, and for wisdom. These are two things I pray to the Lord for. I don't have long prayers, you know, but I pray throughout the day, but I don't have long prayers. But we have to find a way to improve on our relationship with each other, you know, and to remove from us this ingrained hatred and anger and animosity, you know, that we have for each other. But, you know, let us continue to pray. You know, yeah, and before I leave, I also wanted to extend condolences to a sincere friend of mine, to Tula in Pottersville, who passed away recently. You know, very sincere, very sincere. And if you allow me to say that, she was a strong Labourite, very strong Labourite, very strong supporter of the party. Yeah. But thank you very much for your calls, and for your comments, and for your questions, and for your suggestions. We look forward to an engagement next Sunday, God's willing. On this program, you will not get politics from me. I will not be speaking about politics. I may go on other programs and talk about politics and so on. But on this program, my preoccupation is about the people, what the government has to do, what the government is doing, and what the people would like the government to do that the government is not doing for them. So that's my focus. My focus is about government work, and so you won't get me to get involved in partisanship. I will put my labor hat and labor shirt. I'll go on another program and talk politics and so on, because there are times you have to respond as a party leader, because I mean I'm not dead. You understand? But on this program, positive vibes. Let us say, well, when I go on a program, positive vibes, because, you know, I'm always positive, you know. But I can throw 1-2 punches when the time requires, and I have to do so because I have an institution also to protect, to defend, and to promote. But on this program, I'm speaking to you as your Prime Minister. So, samedi Kavini, dimanche Kavini, dimanche au soir, 6h, on nous parle. Bonsoir tout le monde. Chebe fort, pas molli, on nous lutter. Nous avons expérimenté une difficulté, mais nous passons à molli. Nous pour chebe fort, et puis on nous lutter. On nous and nous bâti pays nous, et nous garder assis journée l'autre, et puis faire ça, nous payer, et puis dans le travail ensemble, nous tous qui bénéficier de travail ça là. Et par les place au temps pour faire division en pays là. Puis nous c'est un peuple, une famille, une nation. Et puis si nous c'est un peuple, une famille, une nation, pour que nous pas travailler ensemble. Nous avons toujours une différence entre nous. Puis en dans famille, il y a des jours pour parler et puis il y a l'autre. Mais moun ça c'est famille. So OK toujours venir parler et puis famille. So on nous travaille ensemble, on nous garder vers la moitié plein. So et puis on nous mettre petit gros nous drop by drop. Comment on dit drop by drop ça? OK? Et puis, on nous remplit vers là. J'étais est venu en haut. Et puis, l'eau même qui a tombé vers là. Et puis, ça, c'est ça nous pour faire. Travailler ensemble. Et puis, les bons dieux viennent pour garder pour le monde. Et qui demandent ça ou fait pour le peuple. Et puis, nous tous qui sommes pour répondre. Check sur la demande au Australie, c'est ça ouvre les réponses où les Jésus-Christ viennent pour juger la mort et puis ça qui vivre. So, je voulais prêcher l'évangile au Australie, puis j'ai levé, après levé. Mais peut-être dimanche prochain, avant de commencer, je vais une petite leçon, évangile. Évangile. Nous regardons Matthieu 23. Nous allons parler comme ça. Bonsoir tout le monde. Autant l'amour. Dormez bien. Levez bon demain pour aller travailler. Et puis, à nous travailler ensemble pour Jésus nous et pour payer nous. Merci. Merci. Et puis nous allons parler encore dimanche prochain, si vous voulez. Thank you very much.